The Spice Girls, and good day, team. How are we?
Hiya!
Grief. You've actually, probably in your favour or not in your favour, come up with a sort of summer anthem of this year. Everywhere you go, you hear this song. Do you think that'll be good news or bad news in about 3 or 4 years' time?
I hope it doesn't get on anybody's nerves. That's all I can say.
I think you know has.
I think it's a reflection of us, isn't it? You either love us or hate us. That's it. That's summer anthem.
Oh, hopefully, Wannabe, it's given off a good starting point for us, and people have got like where we're coming from. So
I think Britain must have needed it.
I think Britain needed something, that's for
They
sure.
did.
Yeah.
I'm not going. I'm
they
going
all
back on
wanted
house
Zig
hunting.
Zig
They all needed a Zig a Cigar, they did.
Do you think that really? I mean, really, how have you coped with being incredibly famous all of a sudden?
How do you cope with it? I mean, what is the state of being famous? I mean, we're just us at the end of the day. We're 5 mates having a laugh on one big adventure, and I mean, I don't even really think it comes into it. I mean, fair enough. I mean, you get recognised, which is great. I mean, you get to speak to people who have bought your single, signing autographs. But I mean, it's more of a kind of
Fame does not exist. It's a state
No.
of mind. It's a
And
myth.
it's actually, a lot of people say, oh, they've changed, but it's not actually you that changes, it's the
everybody
people around
goes
you.
mad.
Goes mad.
I suppose a bit like the guy who won the 11 million, how he can turn around and say, yes, she wants me for my personality. Surely the ladies who he now associates with
go,
have got to say,
"Ka-ching."
hang on a minute, you've got all that money in your bank account.
Yeah.
You can't ignore it, the same as you can't ignore the fact that you're now household names.
That really makes me laugh.
Actually,
Actually,
do you know
I
what?
don't see it like that. I
That
really
goes part
don't.
and parcel with, at the end of the day, we're doing our music. We're on this is a movement.
Mission.
Yeah, this is a mission. This is like girl power feminism. But that, success and fame, that hopefully that just comes in part and parcel with it, whether you like it or not. Really, I mean, it
But
depends.
I think if you sat down and thought, "Oh, I'm famous," it'd really distract you from what you
doing.
started off doing
Yeah.
in the first
Exactly.
place.
I mean, I think you have to definitely just think, yeah, we've done well with this, now we're going to move on. The minute you start thinking, God, I'm famous, that's when you start getting complacent and there's no room for that. You
It's
just
still
have to
skin.
think.
Do you know what I mean? Everybody thinks once you get
We're a
number one hit, you
millionaire.
get really rich.
Exactly. I mean,
And
we've-
we're not at all.
You've got a lot of work, to do to basically keep up the reputation that you've actually worked hard to get. There's a
Reputation
lot
of a
more.
nutter.
Reputation.
There's a lot more work
Damn.
to do, definitely.
But is it girl power feminism? Surely that will alienate
is.
some of the people.
No, it
Why?
doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
No, because
No, it
now you're
doesn't.
bringing in sexist attitudes, which surely you're against.
No,
It's not
no.
a
Not at all.
sexist
How's that
attitude.
No, it's not. It's not at all. What obviously, primarily, we are doing it for the girls because we feel that they needed it. Basically, there's not many girl bands out there. We've created this spicy movement, but it's like 90s attitude. It's for a new generation,
It's
a breed
like
of
freedom
thinking.
speech as well. You can wear what you want to wear, say what you want to say, and just be like a strong.
It's not
person.
just for. It's always for the underdog. Whether you're black, white. It's for guys as well. We can tune into anybody. Really, it's a vibe thing. That we're trying to express to anybody.
I think, but more importantly, it's about enjoying yourself as well. Just
Yeah.
having, taking each day as though it's your last and enjoying yourself.
That's what we're
But
trying.
listening to this album of yours, it's a lot more serious than that, because all of a sudden, and I'll admit I was surprised to hear some of the songs, pleasantly surprised,
Shock, horror.
because I suddenly thought,
Shack.
Horror.
God, these girls can actually sing, and they're obviously involved in music, and they've got some great influences somewhere in there. I look at songs like Say You'll Be There, which has got this wonderful little Stevie Wonder harmonica bit in it.
That's
That
the
was
second
Emma.
single, that is.
That was me.
That was
that.
Alice.
So we
Alanis
really had to choose carefully. I mean, which songs we actually put on the album, because we've written about 35, and we really wanted the public to see a natural progression in our music and our lyrics, and so as each track comes on, do you know what? I can't
Why
speak.
was
That's
you
why
so
I'll pass it
shocked?
on.
But do you know what?
I was shocked because the image of you is these bubbly girls who go out and, like you've said, 3 or 4 times, going out enjoying yourselves, and I suddenly find that, hang on a minute, there is a serious music side to this.
Of course there is. You've got to have something behind you to keep you going. You can't be all up there without no reason, really.
Yeah,
can
there is
you?
method in our madness. What we do is, right, first and foremost, this album is a reflection of the 90s, okay? If you ask the average person, which is us lot, what you can appreciate
not
any
average.
any type of music, whether it be rocks, soul, funk, rap.
Disco, trip hop, anything.
Right, and we want to reflect that in
Picking
our
that
album.
up.
We can appreciate any type of music. And I'm sure if you ask the average young person, they can too. So we thought we weren't going to give you an album that just blends into one, where you get 2 singles that are good and the rest is, you're just bored with. And basically, we thought, okay, we always give that fun element over the top if you just want a head nod or something with a very strong melody. But if you care to read between the lines, there is a message, a profound message. You know, we've got a ballad in there. It's not your average.
sex.
It's about safe sex. You know, if you-
I think we just thought. I mean, we don't want to pigeonhole ourselves into one area of music. We want to be able to, like, do you know what I mean, bring out a trip hop thing. We want to be able to bring out a jungle thing. Do you know what I mean? We're not going to section ourselves off into one state of music, because we don't want to do that. There's 5 individuals here. We've all got different musical influences, so we just thought, what's the point in just sticking to one when we've got 5 here?
Yeah, and through our lyrics, we just feel that, you know, this is more than just a band, as we said, it's a movement. And through lyrics, that gives you a voice box basically to, you know, give out positive statements. You know, it's just, and it's all based on our own life experiences. So it's, you know, it can tune
Truer.
into the
So
way
girls
people
can
are
identify
feeling.
with that.
You know, so, you know, I think when people, you know, listen to the lyrics, they think, yeah, that's, you know, I can tune into that as well. You know, there's personality. We like to give personality and fun,
And
but a bit of
attitude.
intelligence there as well.
A bit, a hell of a lot.
Because I think the average young person, you know, you must never underestimate anybody. You know, there's a lot of very intelligent young people there, you know, smash hit readers and...
Given the chance, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
they
they've got...
could tell you a lot of things.
Yeah, they're probably more intelligent than the average, you know, MP in government, really. You know, and it's uncorrupted.
Do you think then that I found this album shows a lot more maturity? And are you not becoming old before your time?
No way.
No, I mean... Because,
No, not
you
at
know,
all.
the thing about Spice Girls, I mean, we're the kind of people that we can fit into any bracket. We can be fun and mad.
We
Do you know
can
what I
be
mean?
old if we want to be.
Yeah, we
old,
can have
and
a
again,
conversation.
But we do it with a bit of, you know, spiciness.
That's it. We can fit into any environment.
I think, you know, obviously we wanted to show the public that to grow with us. You know, we started off with Wannabe. That was one of the first tracks we
Attention
wrote,
grabber.
and we have grown a lot and we've matured a lot in our music. But we're gonna show the public are gonna grow with us. You know, on that we're gonna show them Wannabe. We're gonna show them some of our first tracks, and then they're gonna grow with us.
Because we didn't want to come out with one of our serious tracks that is on the album, because it'd be like, oh. Do you know what I mean? We've like properly planned all this, and we thought we want to get everybody's attention. Do you know what I mean? We want to give everybody a starting point, which, do you know what I mean, instantly is fun. Do you know what I mean? Hyperness, enjoying yourself. But then, do you know what I mean? There's a little bit more to it as it goes along the way, which you will be able to see as you listen to each track. And I'm really fumbling over my words
But you
today.
know what? I think, you know, Spice Girls is about rule breaking. You know, we've always maintained, you know, we've entered the music industry on our own terms. We've always done that because we managed ourselves, you know, made our own foundations. And basically we felt that, you know, our music is universal. It doesn't alienate anybody. You know, music, whether you're gay, whether you're the
Black,
postman,
white,
president,
Chinese.
it doesn't matter who you are, basically. You can identify with that. We thought our album can appeal to all you musos out there. You know, if you like a good groove, that there's a lot of musicality and there's very strong melodies there.
Head nodder.
You know, it works because there's a colourful element, that superficial one that, you know, if you just want something to brighten up your day, it's there. But we wanted to, you know, incorporate that
Appeal
into
to
our...
everybody. That's what I think it is. It's like why we signed like our record deal in America and Japan and places like that. We don't want to have to alienate anyone. We want to get the whole world. Do you know what I mean? We want to give everybody a chance to see the Spice Girls for what they are. So they either like us or hate us, or they get it or they don't get it. Give everybody a chance.
Right, shut up, you two.
Sorry.
Do you think that your audience, I mean, you appear to be very aware of the people who have supported you and followed you. Is that an important thing with the Spice Girls, that these people do matter to you a lot?
Definitely. I mean, at the end of the day, we wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for, you know, all the people that are buying the record and basically supporting us. Do you know what I mean? And, you know, that's why another reason we're into doing it live, because we want to reach out to as many of those people as we can. We want to perform to as many people as we can, you know, not just in Britain as well, you know, around the continent, in America and Japan, as many places as we can get to.
Actually.
But
Quite
you
a
know what
mad
the
live
brilliant
show.
thing is? We're really stuck to our guns on everything we've done. You know, we chose to release Wannabe. You know, we always have, you know, full control on everything we do.
We
And
chose to
so-
wear these clothes.
Yeah, that's it. So by putting yourself up there, you're really exposing yourself, quite vulnerable, really, because this is us. Okay, so to get that recognition, you know, and to people to enjoy and like what you're doing, that's even better. That means so much more, I think.
How tough are you then? What about, I mean, at the moment everyone's
We're
saying,
well
yeah, the
off.
Spice Girls are this, the Spice Girls are that.
Men
What
and-
happens
I don't think people-
when it goes the other way and it's like, oh, they're not what we thought they'd be?
Well, do you know what I mean? You cannot please
Yeah.
everybody. We are us. That's it. You either like us, do you know what I mean, or you criticise us, whatever. Do you know what I mean? At least we're getting some kind of response.
You know, we're just doing what we enjoy doing, and if we get any reaction,
That's good.
do you know what I mean?
reaction.
Then you know that's what we've set out to do. As long as somebody is noticing us, someone is paying attention. That's what we set out to do. You know, 3 years ago.
We're not going to dilute where we're coming from just because that person says, "Oh, I don't like that in the Spice Girls," or "I don't like this." We're us at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean? We just decided we can't
At the end
please
of the day,
everybody.
you can't please everybody. You can't. So we're just pleasing ourselves.
Yeah, we were at some function, and George Michael was there, and he was delivering this speech, and he said, "I've been trying to please everybody else for the past few years, and now I'm just going to please myself."
Which is the
And
best
that's
thing.
the only thing you can do, really, because otherwise you'll be stretched in all different directions.
There is the argument, of course, that if musicians try and please everybody else, it becomes not what you're all about. Not
Definitely.
the gut feeling,
You lose
and the
it.
reality in the music doesn't happen.
Yeah. Definitely, as Melanie said, we can't let in everything we've done, whether it be our album sleeve, you know, our videos, everything, we've always had the final say because we don't want our message in any form to be diluted. And that is that happens a lot to artists. And it must be very painful for them.
Because at the end of the day, as an artist, you are up there doing it, nobody else. Do you know what I mean? And if you want to portray yourself properly, you've got to oversee everything. You can't let anything go amiss. And that is what we do. You've got 5 heads here, 5 pairs of eyes, and nothing goes unseen.
But with us, it's just this is what you see is what you get. We're being real, and then if you like it, you like it. If you don't, then you don't, But it's us.
I think music's really important, to take you somewhere, whether it's up, down, low. As long as it's got to be emotive, and that's what we're about. When we write our, it's not a production-led thing either. It's more of a, gut thing.
When we have arguments over the word "the" and things like that.
When we write our songs, we go back to, like when the Beatles used to write their songs, they used to
start off with a good melody.
A good melody. That's it. That you
It's
can't
more
beat
important.
that. Definitely.
Then any kind of groove can go under that. Any mix, any groove, anything.
Also, I think that's what, makes a song last as well. If you don't rely on production, you do have a good melody line, you can sit down and play it on the piano. That is what makes a song stick
I
around.
really, really, really want to zig ah.
I think you'll understand that.
I know
You
what
understand
Mike
exactly what
Flowers
I'm
doing.
doing.
Yeah, that's it. That's the biggest test. Whether if it's a good song, if Mike Flowers can cover it.
I was sitting next to Mike Flowers on the plane the other day, and I did put a business proposition to him about Wannabe. So, I'm actually quite business-minded. So, everybody out there can actually be expecting, Mike Flowers to do a cover of one of the Spice Girls tracks. So we've got that to look
I
forward
tell
to.
you what is important. Do you know what I mean? Writing for other artists, that is one thing that we would like to do.
Yeah.
And we already have done. We've got
Yeah.
a few songs for other people.
We've said this a few times,
mad.
but Jarvis Cocker, we're trying to track you down
He's
because we've got
ignoring
a
us.
wicked track for him, and we're saying it everywhere, all over the world, and he hasn't got in contact with us
Yeah,
yet.
it's
so-
perfect.
Down Michael Jackson at the moment.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
We're trying to find these people. You mentioned some of the lyrics. "To Become One," I think, is probably, again, a classy, soulful riff. I mean, the groove on that is really, really nice.
Beautiful, isn't it?
It's one of those, that you're going to play a lot, and people are going to. And I work in radio, and you're going to play that on the radio a lot. It's a great radio record. But again, a subject
no.
that you're probably touching, that other young people would be glad you're touching and talking about. Do you ever feel about that pressure, about mentioning this in your lyrics? Because a lot of young people now look up to you.
We make a proper point of making sure we have got something there in our lyrics that is like slightly opinionated, that is giving off like a vibe or giving off a message at the same time, because otherwise it'd just, to us, there'd be no point writing a song. What's the point in writing a song if it's got nothing in it?
We realise we're up there, and we, and kids are going to listen to our songs, and that's why we love giving messages across. If it is safe sex, if it is about, don't depend on a boy. You can stand up on your own, you can shout as loud as you want, and I think that's we really
We're put in a
appreciate
position
that.
where we can do that.
Yeah, we really appreciate
But
that.
these things we haven't done it on purpose to say, hey, listen to us. We're just singing about things that we generally are interested in. Those things, safe sex, AIDS, or boys, or that the world, the state it's in, they affect us. So if it affects us, it must affect everybody else.
But I think the way we do it, we don't like to do it like shove it in your face. We really don't want to do that because we're quite in your face as people anyway. So we do it quite subtle. So it's like a clicky kind of way of thinking. You either get it or you don't, kind of thing.
I think the banner waving pop star is like a nightmare because that's all they want to talk about. Fly the flag, and you can do it in different
What do you
ways.
mean? Sorry.
The banner waving. I stand for this. I stand for
yeah.
that. It's not the way it should be done.
Yeah.
It should be done through lyrics, through harmonies. Through
Definitely,
melodies.
definitely. Because
Exactly,
otherwise,
that's the only if you listen to
Cooler.
our lyrics, that's where you get the messages. If you don't want to listen to the lyrics,
just
then
wanna
you've got a nice, you've got a good song, a strong song that you can just,
Yeah.
get down to.
Get down, get down.
Okay, let's talk about Love Thing. I've got some living to do, and I'm not that easy. Is this a woman's warning or is this a Spice warning?
a woman
all it
sings
is,
that, I
I think that song
You
is
sing
about-
that bit, don't you, Vicky? Go on,
She's-
Vicky, express what you feel about that. Fantastic,
I
man.
can say,
fantastic, mate.
I think that song is, got a lot to do with preconceptions. That I'm sure any female can identify whatever industry she is in.
Shut
There's
up.
always preconceptions that you're some sort of bimbo, or if you
It's
do,
'cause you've got boobs.
or you're either a bimbo, or if you've got something to say, you're a bitch with attitude. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't
Can't
win,
win.
basically. There's always that myth. So basically, it's saying, look, don't take me for granted. Look a little bit deeper. Don't if you're some sort of macho guy that thinks I'm some sort of bimbo or easy, I'm not, basically. I've got brains and intelligence.
But I think at the end of the day, everybody is the same. It's just this power thing that men like to feel as though they've got over women when really they haven't. They haven't. We give birth.
What's the old?
Well,
the
I'm
old,
gonna
the old
soon.
What's the old story? As long as I've got one of these, I can get one of those anytime.
As long as what?
As long as I've got one of these between my legs, I can get one of those anytime.
What does that mean?
Is
Is
the
that
old
rude?
female thing, isn't it?
Wow.
Which again is, and when you look at the way that females are treated now, do you intimidate guys at all?
Not
No,
really.
not really.
Not intentionally. I think the only man that is ever intimidated by us lot is not a 90s man. A 90s man, if he's cool with himself,
He can handle it.
He can handle a woman that is equal to him. I wouldn't say we're overly intimidating. We're just equal. We've got just as much balls as men. That's it.
Yeah, that's-
basically.
I think it is quite shocking for some men though, because we are kind of like a role reversal. Do you know what I mean? We shout at builders and we do things like that.
Yeah.
We're not afraid to voice our opinions. And if that scares some men, then do you know what I mean?
But isn't that the way most parents would love their children to be? To have an opinion and not just drift away, to think about
Yeah.
things that are going on in the world.
But to
and have
have-
an attitude. And I mean, I've got a 3-year-old. The first words my 3-year-old said were "no way." Now that's a kid who's that's just the kid I want. That kid will do
that's
for me.
But I
Perfect.
think that gets suppressed as the years go on. You think,
Definitely.
oh, maybe I shouldn't say that to that person, or I
Yeah.
can't do this, I can't do that because I won't fit in there, or that person isn't going to like me.
Yeah, because if you think about it, when you're a
weird.
child, you are fearless. You're uncorrupted by society. Do you know
Kids
what I
are
mean?
the best
It's like Nana Cherry's song
thing.
about 7 seconds away. From the beginning, the first few years, it's brilliant. If you want an honest answer, you go and ask a kid. Do you know what I mean? They'll
Definitely.
tell you the truth. But as years go on, they do get corrupted by society because they're afraid to say things. So all we're trying to do is revitalise that thing, whether it's from the 60s, that, love, peace, that cliched thing of do what you want to do, and have a positive attitude. It does get lost in the mix. It does. And all we're trying to do is I'll tell you what we're about. It's, sometimes you read one of those books. I know it's one of those psychological books. It's basically it's reading everything you thought anyway.
But it's giving you the go-ahead to do it. That's what I
Exactly.
think we do. We are tapping into the people's way of thinking, but we're saying it's all right to think like that.
Yeah.
It's all right to say that. It's all right to wear something different to your mates. It's all right to do things like that and be like an individual and not get like kind of, oh my God, I shouldn't be like
I
this.
mean, if you look at the way we dress, this is not intentional. We're not about suppression. We all just wear what we want to wear. That's a message in itself. You don't need a uniform to fit in. You can be exactly who you want to be.
I wouldn't mind a man in uniform though.
Yeah, we do like a man in
Yeah,
uniform.
we do.
So
Nice
how would-
fireman.
Fireman. So what would you guys say to your children? Would you allow your children to have an opinion and be, or would you think as you get older, as you just said, you'll mellow a bit and think, oh my God, what has my kid said? Or will you be quite proud as parents if your children develop the way you have?
I think everything's changing, do you know what I mean? It's the 90s now. There is a new way of thinking, is like everyone's been saying. And I think, as parents, the generations that are coming up, hopefully they're going to be a lot more opinionated and things are going to start changing.
But you know what? I think
She's off.
I'm off again, right? But people with with a controversial opinion.
As long as you do it in the right way, that's
Yeah.
all I can say.
But-
As long as you haven't got a big chip on your shoulder or like a very negative attitude about it. Do you know what I mean? As long as you do it in the right way and realise, you know what I mean,
but if
just
you
by
look-
saying it, you're helping somebody else. or
Sometimes,
it's easing
sometimes
your own mind.
Yeah, sometimes an opinion can be dangerous. If you look at our predecessors, I was watching Malcolm X the other day. You know, people get shot for standing up for what they believe in. Really, so I think hopefully times are changing where you
What's
can.
happened to Speaker's Corner?
It's still there. This is our speaker's corner. We're on a soapbox.
Good point. Well, yeah, but you talk about people like Malcolm X. I mean, that's a very different field, and
Yeah.
these are politicians who know the risks. Martin Luther King knew the risks. Malcolm X knew the risks. I mean, these guys, Nelson Mandela. These guys know the risks. They
Yeah.
know what they're doing. They're fighting for a different thing. They're fighting, in a way, they're fighting for a racist thing. Okay. And,
I think
and
it's
what
all
would-
the
what
same
would-
thing. You're
it-
still
it
fighting
is,
for
it is.
something equal.
But if you talk to, I mean, it's like Melissa Etheridge. Okay, has come out. She's a gay musician. Her sex attitude has nothing to do with the quality of her music and her songs. She still talks about love. She still writes great songs.
Yeah.
She's still a wonderful musician. I think what we might be getting away from here is that you do write great music, and it doesn't have to have the attitude all the
Oh,
time.
definitely.
What it has
I-
is the quality,
Yeah.
which I'm
Yeah.
trying to get through. Is on this record there are quality songs that have longevity, not just this stand up and shout
Oh
about.
no, definitely. I totally agree with you. Sometimes, when I read an article on sort of, an artist and their sort of music gets kind of lost because there's so much talk about, their sexuality or something like that. It is off-putting, definitely. Oh, I think what it is with us lot, basically,
We're all men.
we're all pretty mental, and when you get in a position to have a voice, it's suddenly we've been silenced, for
About 2.5, 3 years.
Yeah, basically, and so obviously, I'm sure we'll calm down eventually. Suddenly, we've been given a voice box, so suddenly we think, yeah, let's come up, and let's shout out about a few things. But of course, our music shouts the loudest.
The
That's
end of
what
the
we
day, if
want to
the
do.
music's not good, then do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're gonna go
Definitely,
nowhere.
that's what we're about at the end of the day: is entertainment and music.
Exactly, and I think
Victoria, are you allowed to speak?
I am actually allowed to speak, and I'm going to take this opportunity to say something. I think, one of the main things is that we've not recently, but since we've been up there, realised we've had so many barriers to break down the fact that we are, females, and we are doing this. That's another reason why we've really homed in on it, because it's been so blatantly, shown
our
obvious
face,
to us.
yeah.
It's been really in our face. As soon as we meet someone, they say either, "Oh, female, take that," or "Oh, you manufactured, you don't write your own material."
Very
That's why
big
we've had to really scream up
preconceptions.
about it, and why it has been so, we have battled it out, and we have said so many times. Now we haven't got to prove that point. We've proved that, and
Through
now
our
we're moving on.
music.
Now we've got the album, and now you are seeing the more serious side to it.
I think action
Okay, so
speaks louder than words.
so you write your own material. So you're telling me then that you suddenly become musicians, or do you work with a musical director?
Suddenly become
Come on,
musicians.
because were you musicians when you started this, or do you have ideas and
Yeah.
thoughts, and could you actually play instruments?
No.
Right.
I do actually play the drums, but I'm not playing the
Okay.
drums.
And
I'm
I
a
So
play
do
the
you
guitar.
do you have a musical director or somebody who you go along and you want do this, and then they come up with the ideas? Do you work together with people?
not kind. Sorry.
Go on, Victoria.
No, I was going to say, when we're writing, we do, all the writing. We work with producers, that musically might help us out. But, on the musician side of it, Jerry, he's playing the guitar, Melanie plays the drums. I'm very basic on keyboards. That's something that, again, we want to work harder on and get more advanced on. But generally, we do all the writing. We just work with different producers. But even on the production side of it, we have a lot to do with it. We say what we want. Basically, they're just there to twiddle the knobs. We haven't got time
the knobs.
we haven't got time to learn how to work all that big, all those
That big
that
desk.
stuff at the moment.
Well, we
but
make sure we're over their shoulders all
Definitely,
the time.
they're never in the studio
We want
on
that
their
turned
own.
up. We want this because very soon we want to be able to go into a studio and hopefully do it all on our own.
But we on the album we work with about 2 or 3 different producers, and every producer that we work with is like very up and coming. Do you know what I mean? Doesn't do the obvious pop kind of thing. Isn't in that circuit kind of at all. And they let us kind of say, do you know what I mean? I want that drum loop there, or I want a drop out there. Do you know what I mean? It's a very much kind of, it's a 75% thing on our point, and they're doing the rest of all the engineering desk.
I think one thing that
and handling us.
we were really cautious of is, we didn't want to, for example, sometimes you get an artist and they suddenly pick this producer or mixer, and like for example Dallas Austin, and then they're or Babyface, and they're more the star than the actual artist themselves. themselves, and all you hear is Babyface. You know, the way he's produced that track, and we were very aware of that. You know, we didn't want to sound like somebody else. We wanted to keep our identity. So everybody that we worked with, as Melanie said, we always picked someone that wasn't particularly well known, but they've still got loads of talent, and creativity, and we just vibe off them basically.
Up and coming people.
Yeah, up and coming people, not the run of the mill. We would never like to work with the run of the mill. In everything we've
Fitting
done.
into what everybody else does.
Exactly,
But
definitely.
the theory behind a great producer is that you can never tell they're there.
Exactly,
They
exactly.
just bring out.
They produce. They're just meant to produce spice, bring them out, and that is it. They're not meant to be the artist or the star. That's not what. We just wanted someone to bring out the best of spice, and that's it. Really.
We did one guy, and he tried to get his voice on the chorus, and we was like, "What are you doing? I don't think so. We're not working with you again."
That was the last time I saw him.
What about? A song like Mama. As I said, I defy anyone to tell me who that is if I played it to them. I don't reckon anyone would click at this stage of your career. I don't think so.
Maybe not at this stage. Maybe a bit later on.
If you know Spice, obviously you give out. I think Spice and the world it's like a relationship. Do you know what I mean? We're on a date, right? And first of all, when you first go out on a
Don't
date,
show
you
'em
give you
everything.
don't show them everything. You don't pull your panties down at once, do you? So basically, we're on our best behaviour. All you've seen is it's like when you first meet a girl, you'd show your fun side, go out and have a party. That's what we've done. Once you get deep into the relationship with Spice, you'll see our deep sensitive side, and that's what Mama's all
Oh
about.
dear. Oh
Do you know what I mean? You'll see that.
So what about the relationships that all end in tears?
The relationship that ends in tears, where you just jump back up harder and start all over again, don't
Pick
you?
yourself
Yeah.
up, dust yourself off, and start all
Swing
over
it, shake
again.
it.
Yeah.
It's like a good
And that's where
Hennessy
Swing Shaky
song.
goes in.
Yeah.
Swing it, shake it.
Who do you think you are? I
kind
think
of
it's one of the best
superstar.
fun songs on the album. I think it's a great party
yes,
song. Really, really good party. That must be great live to do something like that.
Oh yeah, we do that in our live show.
that.
We
Yeah,
had
it's like
glitter and everything for
Like
that
the
one.
70s revival.
So do you reckon that the party song and that side of you is also on this album as well as the serious stuff? Do you reckon it's
I
definitely in
think
there?
so.
Hand
Yes.
in hand, doesn't it?
There's a whole cross section of every side of Spice, I think. We've all put our different influence on there. Like some people might have put more on one track than on another. But as a whole thing, it's got all sides of Spice.
Dimensions.
You ever walk down Matthew Street?
Matthew Street.
Where's that?
You know where Matthew Street is.
Oh yeah, the Beatles.
The theory
I was thinking
being,
Matthew Street.
there's a musical landline down the middle of Matthew Street because Eric's was on one side. Excuse us, just
That's all right. Go.
Eric's was on one side and the cabin was on the other side. As a landline runs down the middle of Matthew Street, which creates the music. So if you walk down Matthew Street, then you pick up some of that music from Matthew
Oh
Street.
well, next time I'm in Liverpool, I'll have to do that.
Soak it all up, Mel. Soak
Melanie,
it all up and
Melanie,
distribute
John, tell them
it.
about your
Follow.
dad. Go on, this is your claim. Bit of
Well, my stepdad was in a band when he was younger, and he's just played with the Beatles and stuff in the cabin. That's my little claim to fame.
What was the band?
They were called the Addicts.
So,
they got banned.
Well, they had a record deal, but they got banned because of the connotations of the name. That the BBC wouldn't let them play. So all went a bit Pete Tong.
She's doing all right. Leave her alone.
Connotation, I'm just
Come on, mother, give
patting
you
on
some
the
ear.
back. That's a bit of a
Give you some
vocab
ear,
there.
kid, don't they?
good.
We
Okay.
are really hard on each other, actually. Because when you know somebody, but you properly know them. We properly know each other,
Yeah.
which means
It's
we
like
really
so
take
you
the
can
mickey out of
rip
each
it
other
out.
as well.
I'm sure if you've got brothers or sisters, it's just the same sort of thing.
Can that be too close?
Sometimes.
Sometimes it is, but it's nice though. It is
Yeah, I
nice.
mean, we've never
Back
been
up.
close
Like when
to
you
it.
get the ump and they know, and you think, oh God, I don't want you to know. And they know
Are you?
exactly.
Do you cry in front of each other? You frightened?
Oh
to
my
cry?
God, we do everything in
Yeah.
front of each other. Crying is just one of them.
Go to the toilet in front of each
Yeah,
other.
we go to
We do. I mean, we lived together for about 9 months. So, you're going to know everything, the ins and outs and everything about somebody, which can be a good thing sometimes, but then again, it can be a bad thing. But the bad thing gets reverted around to a good thing.
Yeah.
The story about the advert and all this business. What is the truth behind the
The
Spice
truth is,
Of what? Of
Hang
how we
on.
got together?
Girls? Yeah, leave a gap and then start with the truth is.
Okay, the truth is, basically, the Spice adventure began with us 5 girlies. We were always in the music industry, whether it be like dancing, session singing. One was in a band, some were at music college. We're all in
very
the industry, and our paths kept. We never got any jobs. Our paths kept on crossing through loads of different auditions. Like through the stage newspaper, there was loads. Anyway, and we always sort of talked about being in a girl band, how, you know, good it would be, because it was, you know, like I used to have people like Madonna and stuff like that. And basically there
Your
was
back
one,
garden.
yeah, and there was,
For tea.
yeah. Anyway, there was one particular audition, right, that there was a guy that was, you know, asking to
Bengali.
Svengali that wanted to put, you know, a girl group together, and he did try and sort of manage us lot. He, you know, but we just weren't into it. He was trying to manufacture something, you know, he was, you know, he was a bit of a suppressed pop star himself, you know. He was, you know, had his own ideas, but we had our own ideas, basically. We didn't want to conform to anything. We wanted to be ourselves. So we just basically walked away from it. You know, we didn't sign to anybody, and we managed ourselves for a year. You know,
And in that year, we really kind of got to see what the music industry is like, what can happen to you, what could happen to you, all the different kinds of things.
Obviously,
But we
because
really
we've been
stayed tight.
Because we've been in the industry before, we knew, you know, that there was going to be some arseholes out there who, you know, who was going to try and do that. But we had our own ideas, and we really wanted it to work. And then when we did go looking for our manager, we knew again there was going to be some people who just want to, grab us
Money,
up, give
that's
us money, and that'd be great. And so when we did go looking, we did see some of them people, but you know, we found Simon Fuller, who was excellent, and that was due to we started doing a few demos and things, and he heard one of our tracks through through his
Absolute
office.
boys.
So he heard, you know, one of our songs. It wasn't us that went in there, it was one of our tracks. Then we went in to see him, and he was perfect, because we didn't want someone who, we had so much control ourselves. You know, we had like our own, we were writing our own songs by this time, we were doing our own choreography and just, you know, doing our own thing. So we just wanted someone who would elevate us and just give us ideas and just help us along the way. We didn't want someone to take control of us.
But I
And he
think
was
we've always
perfect.
gone on like a gut feeling, you know, when something just doesn't feel right or something does feel right. We always really rely on that to a certain extent, which has really got us through some sticky situations. It's got us out of things.
I mean, when we
that
were
have been
managing
guided
ourselves, we
into
were
things.
skint. You know, we had no money. We were like, you know, we could have, you know, but we knew it would work with all of us and all our ideas together.
You know that track that first, you know, that Simon Fuller, who manages Annie Lennox, that particular track was Something Kind of Funny, which is on the album,
Which is pretty funny.
which is kind of funny, but don't you think?
It's funny how you said, you know, what is the truth about how you got together? Because generally people don't want to accept the way we got together, because
I
it's
know,
something a
it's-
bit out of the ordinary. And as I said before, that is one of those barriers we've had to break down. People always want to pigeonhole you, and that is something we've really, really run up against.
Does your head in?
It is the truth.
But you know, we found did we talk about why we went with Virgin? Because
But I think you wanted to ask a
I'll go on,
question,
you ask a
didn't
question.
I was
sorry.
just going to say, how did you live during that time then? You say, we had some time together. Yes. How do you exist when you're trying to do this? Because so many groups of girls, guys would say, well, yeah, we'll do some of that. But how do you live in that year?
Well, we found a house that was really, you know, really cheap for us to live in, and we were signing on. We wasn't working.
The government supported us, basically. Thank you very,
government.
very much.
Thank you.
And
Yeah, I'm
you were knocking MPs earlier, yet they supported
I
you.
know. No, not all of them. But I'm sure we're going to be paying it back big time later, aren't we?
We already
nice
are,
big
I
tax
think,
bill.
actually.
So.
Would you recommend then to any, if there was a group of girls listening to this, a group of
Don't
guys
do
listening to
it.
this,
Don't do it.
what apart from the management thing, which is obvious, the real pitfall, what would you reckon? Would you say it's the way to do?
I think something that we want to say to not just girls out there doing it, to anybody, it's like if you believe in something and you really want to do it, then just go for it. There's nothing stopping you. If your heart's in it, you can achieve anything. And I hope that we are living proof of that.
I don't think you can say there's a set way of going about to do anything, because it works for one person and it doesn't work for the next person. So you've just got to go on what feels right, and do you know what I mean, what makes you happy at the end of the day. You've got to go by your own head, not by anybody
got to do it,
else's.
yeah,
That's
so
when
you're
it can
happy
go
with it.
wrong.
And definitely, we want more girls out there. Definitely, without a doubt. You know, more girls.
more
doing
Oh
girl
it.
yeah, that's
bands,
what we've done.
proper.
That's why we sort of do create such a fuss. Is that exactly what Vicky was saying, is that we're trying to open doors for other girl bands. There's not enough girls out there doing it really. So if we can open doors for other girl bands and make it easier, I hope that be more acceptable, because we do talk about preconceptions, blah blah blah, but we're trying to break down all that history goes back to the 60s with Phil Spector and the Ronettes. Do you know what I mean? There was always the producer, he was the guy, and there was your
three
five
pretty
little
girls and
three little
that's it.
puppets doing what he was saying. So times are changing.
Yeah,
but
but
I
those
mean, that's-
those puppets do break out. Tina Turner did. She got away.
Yeah, she did. Respect to
Yeah,
Tina.
exactly. There is a market, for it. The kids love it out there, but we feel after a while it does get, we feel like with the take that thing. If you give them rules all the time, and it's like when your mum, she gives you rules, and you're going to rebel against it at some point. With us in this group, we don't give each other rules. There's enough out in the world that you can't do because of society and that sort of thing. So we don't give each other rules, and then it's not as demanding on us.
But there could now be, like there was after the Take That thing, loads and loads of girl bands. I don't think that's going to be good for music. I think if it's too many, it won't be good because it'll all be manufactured, and you won't get the
quantity. But I think
Boy bands have done
yeah,
it
but
there.
but at the end of the day, this is the beauty of it all. This is the beauty, right? At the end of the day, it's the public choose to buy the records. They make the decision, not some rich fat record boss, not a radio station guy. Okay,
Who's
he's
that
got
fat, not
Sorry.
some rich record boss.
But sorry. So if they decide what goes to number one, really, at the end of the day,
They
whether
do,
choose to
nobody
buy
else
that,
does.
Obviously the DJ has a lot of power because he plays a record, but
And radio.
if that record is a crock of shite,
Don't mix your words. You go for
I
it.
won't mix my words. I never mix my words.
Edit.
True. I mean,
But I think it's
if people
with
want to.
loads of boy bands, only a few actually
through.
come
Come
through.
through,
So
yeah.
that
Exactly.
would be
I
the
mean,
girls
there's
as well.
enough room there for as many girl bands as the public want to take on board, basically.
Yeah.
Which probably,
That's all there is to it.
just about to say, at least with Wannabe, the public did the talking with their money.
Yeah.
They went out and said, "This is a great record. We want to hear this record. We want to buy it."
Yeah.
And what was interesting about it was that, in a way, it came from nowhere. But I think a lot of that is down to the slog that you probably did, travelling around the country and doing anything and everything to prove the point that these were girls.
A lot of people, we've had a lot of people saying, "What's it like, to overnight have this success?" But for us,
overnight.
do you know what I mean? It is not at all. It's like taken us like nearly 3 years now. We've been working solidly and working
We could have
really
come out
hard.
last year, but we didn't want to.
I
know,
remember
we-
when you were signed to
it's
Virgin,
just-
and it was like we signed this, we're keeping them. And they're working, they're doing
We
it this
didn't.
way,
We
they're
didn't.
doing
We
it
didn't,
that way.
want to come out.
Yeah, and it's all, under wraps, and it will happen, which was the real interesting thing about it, because there were people in the industry waiting for it, and then when it did happen, it really bloody happened.
Do you know what I mean, you've got to have a follow up. You've got to have backup. So, do you know what I mean, you're not just a one hit wonder. Do you know what I mean? We are here to stay. We've got so many things that we want to show. We've got so many things that we want to give to people. Do you know what I mean? We are here to stay.
I
whether
think
you
what
like it or not.
I think what we did was really, learn from our predecessors and contemporaries. Do you know what I mean, their mistakes or the good things they did, and we sort of learned from that. Hence, that why we didn't come out straight away. There's so many bands that come out with a slamming hit record, and then everyone goes, "That okay, let's see what you're going to do next." And we were so aware of that.
But they're all saying it, but I can't wait for the response for some of these. Let's talk about Naked. The title alone is a bit, hang on a minute, girls. What are we doing here? The shade suggestive, the fantasies and everything else. But with a song like that, again, it's keeping your feet on the ground, I think. And you're listening to it and thinking, God, there are these girls with
It's
these
quite eerie, that
lyrics.
song.
It is. It is. And I think, and again, you move into If You Can't Dance. Okay, is this... And there's these melodies and the songs you've said, and I think it's going to work long term, and I think it's going to happen for a long time.
Yeah.
I'm glad you think so.
I think that, Naked,
Who am I?
that song to us is like a piece of poetry, do you know what I mean? We put so much into that. That song, and that just shows another dimension of Spice, really.
Yeah.
But what we like to do is take you down there into the depths of darkness, and then suddenly slap you around the face with "If You Can't Dance." If You Can't Dance is probably the most bizarre track on there.
How bizarre. I like that song at the moment. Really like that song.
But and what we found, if you
How bizarre. How bizarre.
okay.
Sorry.
But if you can't dance, that's got a Spanish rap on there. And we always felt that we are an international band. We were adamant the world is a small place. We're not up our UK artists, although we do love to come back to Britain. We can't wait. But, pardon?
I'm at the interviews with American accent.
Sometimes.
To show we're really into it.
Yo.
Yeah.
Yo.
And
do not know what
it's
you're
a
doing.
big market.
What
do
are
know
you
I mean?
What are you going to be doing on New Year's Eve in 1999?
Swinging. No, being fat like Elvis.
I'm
and
probably
bloated.
really bloated by then.
In a cat suit.
And the pressure, and we'd have all gone mad. Pressure!
Because that's in 4 years' time. And
Oh, right.
where do you intend to be? I mean, you will obviously be
I'm
parting
off,
as we
I'm
go
making
into
my
the
money
next
and I'm
one.
off.
I wasn't going to ask you what you were going to do with the money, you know.
I think, you know.
I mean that you can actually earn money out of this. We're not aware of that at the moment.
I think us lot are into longevity, do you know what I mean, as we've tried to say, do you know what I mean? We want to be around, we've got a wicked deal, do you know what I mean, that hopefully, you know, if the public are behind us, I mean, that's down to them, because we know how fickle the public can be, but we're just going to try and keep our heads down and write wicked music, really, and carry on. And it's-
Hopefully we'll be happy and we'll
Yeah.
be
So
together.
what are you going to do with the money?
I'm going to get my car fixed.
Give it all
'cause I
away to
haven't got it
charity.
fixed yet. I think just you can't go too mad with it. I think more than anything we'll sort out
Yeah,
our
right.
families, and I'll get my car fixed.
You're talking to
And,
us. Gotta spend it as fast as you
damn.
can.
Worst. Don't do
Money's
that.
there to be spent. That's what I say. What's the point in
Can't
keeping
take
in
it
the
with you.
bank?
But doesn't that give you a pressure?
A pressure of what?
Well, here you are with a lot of money that hopefully
we
will
haven't
come
got
in.
a lot of
All
money,
right, all
though.
right. When you get lots of money,
Yeah.
Right.
okay. Is it not like the temptation to go and spend it, or because you're
course
very
you can go
young?
and spend
Yeah,
it.
okay. So you're very young. So is there not a temptation to be like, well, hang on, we'll buy a house and we'll do this and do that? Surely you must invest some of it.
Oh yeah.
I can't
Buy a
invest.
house is
I'm really
investing
bad
money,
at
isn't it?
investing.
No, I think another thing, I think we'd like to do things within the group as well. I mean, I think we'd love to get our own studio sorted out and things like that, you know, which is a bit more.
Yeah, I mean, Spice is a bit of a corporation.
And buy
do you know
my
what I
mum a
mean?
house.
There might even be a spicy food chain, spicy bean
You see, if you
burger.
did, you see, if you get your own studio, that's going to save you a lot of money because then you don't have to
Yeah,
rent
that's
studios
it.
elsewhere. So,
Definitely.
are you at all business-minded?
Of course
Of
we are.
course we
I'd
are.
just like to say I'm
Vicky
actually
is
very
actually.
business minded.
Victoria
one
does
of us
look-
has to be.
Money-minded.
I do look over the accountant's shoulder.
You've got to
actually.
be aware of every angle.
Yeah,
You've
that's
got
another
to.
thing that, you know, when you look at our, you know, previous, you know, bands like Bros and stuff like that, it makes you really aware. You think, right, okay, we're going to make sure things like that doesn't happen
I think,
to us.
you know, we're really lucky
That's
with our
why we
manager
really
as
get
well.
some
You know,
spaces.
he's actually, you know, he's really good like that. He advises us really well. You know,
That's
he's-
why I'm on the
Definitely.
most cheapest wage because
Yeah,
I spend
Because
too
otherwise
much.
you'd have nothing.
So, what's the story now then? We have another one.
From A to
another,
Z.
another 8 hit
What's the
singles.
story? Morning Glory.
And then where do we go? Where do you go from
Sorry,
here?
say that again. I wasn't.
We have
listening.
another 8 hit singles, and then where do you go from here?
Do you know, we've actually already written some material for our
Got
second
about
album.
35 songs.
So that's you know, we want to get writing, you know, as well. That's definitely something really new
we
in
go
the
we
future.
go
we've
to
got start
America next year for 2.5-3 months to really work that market and see. Do you know what I mean? How that goes.
But-
We're not afraid. Do you know what I mean? To go over to America, which I think a lot of groups are.
Yeah, it's like-
It's easier just to stay here or Japan or Europe. It's like America's like quite a big thing. We've been over there about 3 times already.
Got to go back
We've
to
got a
Europe.
lot of, so we've got about 3 major surprises.
yeah, but we
3
can't tell you
major
them all.
surprises, what we can't tell you.
Yeah, they're all in the pipe. There's a few pipe dreams.
So what did you think about America? How did you find America?
It's great.
Hi. Hi, have a nice day.
Loves you.
They're really, you know, real people, man.
It's cheap, isn't it? If you want to buy clothes and things, it's cheap.
I
America's
think
cheap.
it's where we go. It's
Yeah,
expensive.
but you spend. I mean, you know, you can get
Yeah.
real good deals in America. You get some great stuff in America.
We
I
don't
find.
have time to go shopping.
Don't
We
know.
do streakers at the 4 Seasons. That's what
Yeah.
we do.
It's about liberation.
What is the truth behind the Japan story?
About
What about the Japan
Oh,
story?
are you talking about Loaded?
Why? What? What
That was
about
me,
it?
wasn't it?
What actually went on in Japan?
What
We
did you-
had a gang bang. we
No,
had a
basically, no. I
ball.
think, you know, like Spice, you know, I think there's many sides to Spice. Put us in any environment and we can
We'll go
we'll take
for
it to
it.
the max, you know what I mean? If we're in, you know, we can go on a children's programme and we can, you know, adapt to it, you know, and have fun in that element. You know, if we're in a bus shelter, we can have a laugh,
No, Mel's
basically.
leaving as Loaded is
Yeah,
mentioned.
and obviously these you know, Loaded guys, they came out with us, and obviously they had the same preconceptions that I thought were going to be 5 girlies in bed by 11 o'clock, you know, completely management led and really ruled. And we could tell that, you know, the cynical journalists, you know what they're like. So we thought, right, you know, we're going to show you exactly what we can be like. We're going to outload Loaded. Do you know what I mean? And we just had a laugh, basically. You know, we
Now
took-
see,
very-
apparently you're not speaking enough, so you got to speak.
We're very tongue-in-cheek, aren't we, girlies?
So Camilla and Martin said in there, but we're not going to listen to them.
But one
It's
thing I
quality,
think...
not quantity, Melanie.
Yeah, it
Well,
is.
am
I mean, I
I?
talk loads of verbal diarrhea, don't I? But you know, one thing I think everyone's got to realise, what they read in the, you know,
can't believe it
You can't
all.
believe
Exactly.
everything. Of course, it's got to be, you know, jazzed up a little bit, hasn't it?
But we just do dares and things like that. It's all cheeky. It's never, you know, rude or anything
Why?
like
What
that.
in fact, what did you think of Loaded?
What did you think of Loaded?
I thought Loaded was a journalist that was trying to make a fortune for himself, personally, but there you go. That's why I wanted to hear the true story.
My mother was disgusted.
Well, how I see it, don't ever believe anything except for
Don't
the
believe the
date
hype.
printed on the top of a newspaper or
Yeah,
magazine.
that's
That is
it,
all you can ever
definitely.
believe.
And you're obviously going to be targets for the press.
Exactly.
Oh, of course
exactly.
we are. We already have been. I
There's
know.
only-
the
there's-
first scandal was about me and
There's
Jerry.
only one thing worse than bad publicity, and that's no publicity as far as we're concerned.
I think, you know, the day you start, you know, believing
Right.
everything that's written about you is the day you can't
Good or
live that.
bad.
You can't live, you know, we're not, you know, scandal junkies. You know, we can't,
That's
you
a
can't,
Marty sat there.
you
don't
can't,
even read
you know,
half of
live
it.
that at all. I think that just comes with it. That's just part of it, and you just
It's
gotta
that I
ignore
think
it.
that do you know what I mean the press is another thing that goes hand in hand. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It does.
It's like
the
a game,
public,
isn't
the
it?
public do want to know more about you, and the press have got. Do you know what I mean? They can take you up there, they can take you down there. At the end of the day, as long as it doesn't rock any of our boats, then we're cool. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
as
that's
long as
one
we're
main
all
thing.
right, then
As long as us,
anything else couldn't be going on over there.
as long as us five are happy and you know we're getting on, then usually nothing else really matters.